Hello and welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. And you can find me on Instagram as Skeindeer, and I am Skeindeer Knits as a designer on Ravelry. And Skeindeer Knits is the name of my Ravelry group, which is the best place to take part in the knit-alongs and the community and getting in touch and getting help with patterns and all that stuff. So do be sure that you are joining that group. It's a very fun place to be. And yeah, hi. How y'all doing? For new viewers, this is where I sit and talk about knitting for a weekly to bi-weekly basis. I talk about what I knit, what I design, cast on, buy, all that stuff. Is just like a big sort of inspiration source and something you can have on whilst you knit. And to returning viewers, welcome back. Welcome to my, I guess, knitting podcast, knitting talk show, knitting blabber. What is the situation here? London's still London. We are still kind of encouraged to stay indoors. We had very hot weather and now it's kind of back to normal. We have a decent cloudy day that's good for podcast recording, and I hope it stays that way. I have been knitting a lot. I am trying to do my best to work on my thesis from home, but it's very hard when you got twice your body weight in yarn that is just like screaming my name. So I do have a lot of knitting to show you guys. I do also have quite a little bit of admin. Usually nowadays I only have one knit along to talk about, which is the Skeindeer Knits garment KAL, which you can take part in both on Instagram and on Ravelry, and it's basically just knitting any of my garment patterns, be it sweaters, cardigans, or that one skirt pattern. So that's basically happening. There's a chatted thread on Ravelry, but you can use the hashtag on other places on social media such as Instagram, and yeah. So that's still super active and I'm having so much fun seeing everything that you guys have submitted. It's really just making me very happy. It's truly the best part about being a knitting designer is to see people knit my designs. I mean, that's just, it's the best part. Every time someone's like, oh, I don't know what to cast on next, I can't help myself. I just become like really shameless. I'm like, I have patterns. So yeah, I find it extremely exciting, and I hope that if you have any of my patterns in your knitting queue that maybe you'll cast it on soon, because I can't wait to see it, and I really mean that. It's just, it's the best part. It's the best part. Yeah, I did say I have a lot other admin stuff to talk about because I did round up the Selbu Mitten Club in February. That was the third Selbu Mitten Club. I'm not going to talk too much about the details about that because it's a thing of the past. So all you need to know is that people submitted, the thread got closed, and then you know, the sort of pandemic situation happened and I wasn't sure what to do with regards to prizes. And I think because we don't know how long this is going to go on for, I'm just going to do it now. I have drawn 3 winners, so there are 3 sets of prizes, and you can get in touch with me on Ravelry by sending me your address and letting me know, do you want it shipped now? If you for any reason do not want to receive anything right now, I can put your name on the thing and hopefully, you know, just stow it away until you do want it, but it's completely fine by me. If you want it now, I will wrap it up, I will have it shipped to you. The post offices are running fine here. I went yesterday, it's fine. So without further ado, I'm going to announce 3 winners and then I will show you all the things I finished knitting, because oh my days, it's a list. It's 5 things. So KAL winners. I, as ever, just went into the finished objects thread. I used a random number generator and drew from post number 2 to 130. We had 130 entries. Post number 1 is obviously mine, so we're not including that. So winner number 1 will get 2 skeins and a project bag. These skeins are Sølje. So you will have heard about Sølje before if you watch my podcast. It's one of my favourite yarns. It is Norwegian fingering to sport weight pelt wool, pelsull. It's from a particular breed of sheep that produces this wool that to me honestly makes me think of when you hold wool together with silk mohair, but you get it all in this one breed of sheep's wool. This is a kind of grey blue colour. It's coming up really nicely on here, and I also chose to include a project bag. This project bag is very special because it's made by a friend of mine, Gail, who is Gail Made by Me, and she also sells these project bags in her stand in the Enfield market that's on every Saturday. Obviously not right now given that there's a pandemic, but she has been selling her bags there every weekend since before Christmas, and hopefully we'll be back when she can. But until then, you can find her bags on Etsy. And yeah, so I will be including this incredibly precious project bag with elephants that I just love. And yeah, so for anyone else who's curious about her bags, you can totally find them on Etsy. This is her logo right here, so you can read it off the bag. And yeah, so this is the first prize. And it's in focus even, great. And that's going to JulieRuin. JulieRuin, that's in one word. Get in touch with me in a message on Ravelry with your address and let me know whether you want it now or later. So congratulations. Next winner, I was very excited to find that she got drawn, but I'm not surprised because she's very she pretty much knits all my patterns, and I make good use of that by having her as a test knitter quite often. And I do even believe she's won once before, so it's like really well deserved, and that is Guroflemmen. Guro, you win the kind of other similar set, which is 2 skeins of Sölja in this cerise pink magenta gorgeousness. If you don't know like what to do with these like 2 sets of skeins, obviously they are enough for a shawl. I have 3 shawl patterns that you could make with these, leasing sort of out of, and the bunad shawl that just came out. Although I believe Guro has made most of these already because she does that and she often tests for me. So yeah, in addition to these 2 skeins, you're also going to get this really funny project bag that isn't actually a project bag, but I think it can be used as such. And that is, he said I was delusional, I nearly fell off my unicorn. I think this is hilarious. I bought it for myself eons ago, but it is one of those bags that I sadly just haven't used as much, and so I decided this could go to you, Guro. I hope you find it as funny as I do. So again, just get in touch with me and we'll sort things out. And yeah, last winner is also from Norway, and I found that really exciting. I'm always like surprised, and really pleasantly so, when Norwegians want to knit my Norwegian style patterns, because you guys have a plethora of choice in Norway. Why would you go with my patterns? That sounded more self-deprecating than it meant to. I just mean you could choose a lot of things, and so when you do choose mine, I think yay. And the winner is Lillefix 30 or Lillefix 30, and you get Norwegian yarn as well. It's a bit weird when I send Norwegian yarn back to Norway, but this is hand dyed, so you probably won't be able to get this. And it's from the Happy Little Dye Pot, and it's gorgeous. I love these color combinations. This is actually stash yarn that I got from Happy Little Dye Pot ages ago, and it needs to be knitted up. And I realized I don't wear these silky luxury shawls that I had in mind, so I wanted to go take it home. I hope that that's you, and it's gorgeous. This is just not, it's merino silk cashmere, MCN. It's soft, it's luxurious, it's gorgeous. And yeah, 2 of the same colorway from the Happy Little Dye Pot in Oslo. I believe she's based in Oslo, and she's super nice. And yeah, and along with those 2 skeins, you're also going to get this little project bag from John Arben. Just this little drawstring bag. It's a canvas drawstring bag. It's good for a smaller sort of accessory project like a shawl or socks or mittens or something. So I'll be sure to include that as well. So yeah, 3 prizes, which yeah, I will send off whenever you want me to. I'm usually quite late in sending things, just to give you a heads up, because I don't leave the house most days, virus or not, so that's just my lifestyle really, yeah. For anyone who wants to donate prizes for future knit-alongs, feel free to get in touch if you have anything you think people would want to have. I am starting to run low on prices now. I really wanted to empty out my prices stash for the KALs that I have closed, and now I'm only running 1, so I guess we will need fewer prices, but I would nonetheless really appreciate if anyone wants to donate. Obviously it gives you the chance to show off your amazing products. Otherwise I will donate from stash, or I will buy stuff. I will always make it work, but I thought I'd give the opportunity because I don't do giveaways. I don't do kind of I don't know what the words are, but that's an opportunity to do that. So that means we can jump straight into what I have finished since last time. And I have finished a lot of things. Like I said, I think it was 5 items. 3 of them I hadn't even started because they're very tiny, because they are for the baby that my sister's having. And I will say, like, for those of you who aren't particularly keen on babies, I don't know if anyone's feeling that way because nobody said that, but I know I'm not usually super into that stuff. So if that's you, I am feeling happy with the amount of baby knits I have right now. I think I'm not saying there's enough, but I think for a while I can go without. I think I've done... I'm going to show you the whole collection in a bit so you can see that I maybe, you know, can take a break from the baby knits for a while and focus on other things. So if you're waiting for that, whoa! But until then, I will be showing off what I have finished. I have finished this. Yay! This is Växbo Vinterfjäll. It is one of my patterns on Ravelry. However, I want to rework it for 2 reasons, well maybe 3. One, I am developing a cardigan pattern which made me want to kind of go back to the pattern basically. I also wanted to add 2 sizes so that you can make them for even younger children, because now it only goes down to 2 years of age. I want to go down to half a year, which means you could probably already start at 3 months, to be fair. And I also wanted to have a look at the yoke because I think it could be improved. I don't think it's bad the way it is, but I think it can be made better. So basically I'm reworking the entire pattern. So when you do get the update, should you already have the pattern, you cannot simply jump from one to the other. It will be a completely new pattern that you will get if you already bought it. Like, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. But so make sure you save the PDF that you already have if you are working from the previous version. But otherwise I will override it, and if you can always get in touch if you want the older version, but like, yeah. So this is it. I am really pleased with the yoke shaping. It's perfect now. Like, it's not just like 90% good, it's like, it's perfect. It's good. And that this is the second to smallest size, so this is the 1-year-old size, I think. Yeah, so you can wear it from a year old to probably a year and a half. Because I figured, you know, a lot of people are really eager to knit my sister newborn knits. My mom's gonna make this like big set of, like, you know, hospital ready kind of yeah, and I want to remain victorious here. Like, I want to be the one who has like the knitwear that their baby will still be wearing when all the other ones are too small, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I think that's like victory, but it is. So that's, I've shown you this before, there's nothing new to say about this. I worked up a cardigan pattern as well. So this will come out as a separate pattern. I may be offering some special discounts for those who already have the sweater pattern, just to make it fair if you want to have both. But they are completely different write-ups, that is why they're separate patterns. We've covered all this, it's not very interesting. But now we got these 2. Yay! So this is the half-year size. I have trimmed down the yoke a bit further, so it does kind of, it's a bit more like this now probably. So, because babies aren't particularly broad-shouldered, so I figured that would work. And yeah, so I can just do side by side. These are basically 2 different sizes, and you're so cute. You're so cute. I have made them in combinations of different wools, like Navia Duo, Sandnes Tove, and Hillesvåg Ask. You can use Finull. There are all kind of similar kinds of yarns, so you can use that. Now, I was in I don't remember if it was a swap or if someone who was watching this podcast very early on just wanted to send me stuff, but I got, this particular time was 2 people who were sending me yarn from New Zealand and Australia, and I was reorganizing my stash, and there's one bag with a lot of those skeins kind of popped out and was like, you really need to start working on us, Ellie. This is time. You've had us for a while. What are you gonna do? And so I picked up these 2 worsted skeins balls of Zilana Kauri, or Kauri. It's basically this wool possum blend. So they use bushtail possum in the yarn, and yeah, I had 2 50-gram skeins, and in my head that's like a hat for an adult, but I thought it's probably like 2 hats for a baby. So I did this hat, which is Got Your Ear Flap Hat by Pearl Soho. I have never knitted Pearl Soho and it's so cute. So this is the smallest size, whatever that is. I don't know if it's newborn or like half a year or whatever, but like, yeah. So this is it. It's been drying flat, as you can see, so it's a bit not as 3D as it was when I was making it. It's just really cute. Their pattern is very beginner friendly. They explain a lot more than I normally expect from a pattern, and so if you're wondering about that, maybe you want to check that out. It does have a bit of short row working. It does use wrap and turn, but I hate wrap and turn with a passion, and will always convert to German short rows when I can. So I did that, but it did mean that I kind of lost a bit of track, because when you work German short rows you work one more stitch and then just turn, instead of knitting the stated number of stitches and wrap the next stitch. The next stitch is the one you turn. So I may have worked an extra short row for each ear flap, but it looks good, so I don't really care. It looks really 2D, but I promise it's a fully 3D hat. I did also use short rows to turn on the back for garter, because I didn't want to purl it, which did give it a slightly weird ridge, but I decided I don't care. I did stop doing it when I was starting to shape the crown of the hat, because I didn't want to do it anymore. So yeah, so that's that hat. I really like the little tassel on top. It just looks kind of kooky, and yeah, it's really cute. My sister loved it. I am continuously showing her everything I made. No surprises here. I just want to show her and convince her that I am going to be the best auntie. We don't have any other sisters, but her boyfriend does have 2 sisters, and I am going to be the best one. So yeah. So as predicted, there was enough for another hat. This is Beloved Aaron is the name of the pattern. I don't remember who made it, because I've been knitting a lot. It's all in my Ravelry project, which I always link to. And if they aren't listed below because they aren't current projects, I will have them on my Ravelry project. You can always find them there. I don't know why people ask me what the patterns are, because it will take you a week to get a response when you could just click to my projects and save you so much time. So please do that for everyone's sanity. But this is in my project list below, because I did finish it this week. And it's so cute. I think it's about the same size as the previous one. I imagine it will fit around about the same age, so this is just for variety. I do have some reservations about the possum for baby knits, because generally it's recommended that you avoid things with sort of fluff and flyaway hairs and stuff like that for babies, because they don't have hairs on their nostrils. Whatever they inhale goes into their airways, and it's not great. And I did have a little bit of fur on my kind of black outfit that makes it very visible, and I worried that may be an issue, but you know what, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much more than you get with any other fibre, so I think it's fine. And it's gonna, I don't know, I think it's fine. I wouldn't be too worried, but I would never use alpaca or mohair for that reason. This is slightly less hairy than that, so I think it's gonna be fine. But yeah, as I finished these, I had considerable leftovers from both of these skeins, and I looked up some patterns, and I kind of just knew instinctively what I was hoping to find, and that was a pair of booties. I did again go for the smallest size. I don't remember what that was, but they did come out a little bit large, which meant that I didn't have enough yarn for the leg of the shoes. And I profoundly messed them up. Like, it was bad. The opening of the shoe was like super wide. It would just fall off immediately. And so I went back and tried to fix it, but I had also used the end of the yarn to sew down the sides, because the booties are worked flat. I didn't want to undo that, so I tried to cut the bind off, but then I had gone from working the bind off and the round, but the sock flat back and forth, and it was very hard to resume to, and I messed it up even worse, and it's bad, but you can't tell. And so here they are. They are really cute. They are so cute. Thanks to blocking them standing up like this, they kind of do stand up on their own now, which is kind of cute. But you can see the disaster behind on the back. There's a lot of thickness here. This is kind of like the seam, what you sew them shut because it is all worked flat, and it's like this weird 3D shape that just appears when you work them, which is really cool. Pattern's called Bon Booties, in case you're wondering. So there's a bit of bulk back here from where the seaming happened again and again and again, but I don't care enough. This is the bad one. This is like there's so much wrong happening back here, so much bulk, but yeah, it's fine. It's just wool, so it's not going to be irritating or anything. So it's soft, you know, and they're so cute. They're so cute. And I did fix up the leg hole by simply knitting together some more stitches along the decreases on the top here, and simply working the very short rib on a lot smaller needles than the rest of the shoes. So yeah, that fixed it. It was fine. They're really, oh, they're so cute. They're so cute. I mean, when the little child grows up to have, you know, understanding of things, I dread the day when they will realize that Auntie was more excited about the baby knits than the actual baby. Yeah. But look at that. I did this like in an evening and a day, watching a lot of Avengers films. I think about Thor when I see these. Yeah. And Iron Man. I got Disney Plus and I'm watching all the Marvel Universe films, but I'm watching them chronologically, and I come to the Spider-Man films, which aren't on Disney Plus, and I'm mad. Anyway, so that's what we've got here. So far this is kind of, yeah, 2 garments and 3 accessories. Plus, don't forget that we also have this hat that I showed you last time from by Strikkesilla, and also these trousers. Look at that collection. Seriously, we got the trousers. They're so cute. They're so cute. And the cardigan, and the sweater, and the orange hat, and the grey hat, and the other grey hat, and the booties. I'm a good auntie. It's gonna be such a well-dressed baby. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting, but that's all I have of finished baby knits. There would have been one more item, but I thought I really need to record now because otherwise I will have the sun in my face when recording, and we just can't have that. So, but I probably could have just finished it because now it's clouded, and yeah. But I will show you it in works in progress. But I do have one more finished object to show you before we jump to works in progress, because now I have kind of cheated the system a little bit. I've been talking a lot about the ratio between bind-offs and cast-ons in my Ravelry, well, in my projects in general, but I keep track on Ravelry, and the ratio has been pretty good this year. But it's good because I have finished most of the things that I've started. That doesn't mean that I have finished the things that was already whipped before the year started, so I am still up in the mid-50s in whip count. I'm trying to go at least below 50. It would be nice to be in the 40s, even in the 30s, that'd be good. Or just finish that big cardboard box on the floor with all the projects that is so quick to be done with. No pressure, but you know. And so I decided to finish one of the projects in the cardboard box that my friend Linda, who's from Iceland, and actually she test knitted the Smokish shawl, and it's actually the shawl that is in the photos of the pattern, and she reassured me that what I had left would just take a day. Just do it, Ellie, just do it. And so I did, and I'm really excited to show you. I just have to put all the baby knits away because and here it is, and it's so silky soft. So look at that. Look at it. So what do we have to say? Okay, first let me just do a show off. I just start talking immediately and I forget to like show you guys just how wonderful it looks. It's so elegant and just so where do we begin? I first chose it because I just really liked the dimensions of it. I do find it's a little bit long wingspan wise still. I wasn't expecting that, but I do like it. But it is, again, I do have the same issue that I do with all these superwash shawls. Am I gonna wear it? I'm not gonna wear it as the way I wear my scarves and shawls, you know, to actually stay warm, but I would wear it to look elegant and cool. But that's, am I elegant and cool though? I don't know. But it is gorgeous. I am never doing it again though. I have nothing but good things to say about this pattern. It's very good, it's very clear. It's Stephen West, I mean, what do you expect? But it took forever. It took forever. It took an eternity. At the end you pick up stitches along the side of the eternity piece, and that takes another eternity, which is because you've got like 600 stitches for this rib thing where you do the schmucks on the picot binder. And it's nearly a year old. I cast it on at the end of April last year. And it's a lot of purling. It's equal amounts of purling and knitting, and I am just a fraction of a second slower at purling, and it just means that I get a bit. So as much as I have really nice things to say about this pattern and would highly recommend it, there's no way I'm doing another one. Not that that was ever a question, but yeah, once and for all I got the smocket done, and I felt like it was kind of like hard in its expression, if you know what I mean. It's got these garter ridges, it's got the rib, the smocks are kind of cute, but it wasn't until I got the picot bind off on that I just felt like it just got this like slightly more silly frilly look to it that I really liked, and it just became a bit more me that way. It was a bit too angular before then, and when you put on the picots, it's just really fun. The picot bind off in the pattern is really good, and it's a quite efficient way of doing it that I had not come across before, and I'm really pleased to find it. But it didn't look right when I did it, because I am notorious at binding off tightly. So I went back and decided to change it. I have written up notes about that in my Ravelry project. But long story short is I included one stitch fewer in the picot for the chain cast on, and I used the more elastic bind off method in the picot bind off. So that's the one where you knit one stitch, knit the next stitch, knit these two stitches back together through the back loop. So you kind of get two levels of stitches in the bind off, which creates that elasticity, but that means that your picots become a lot kind of fatter. So that's why I took out a stitch, and it worked out really well. And I'm just so pleased with how that looks. Just to give you a close-up of how they appear. Very overexposed, but that's just auto ISO for you. So yeah, I really also liked how the bind off is extra dark. I did actually save the darkest color for last because it's the one I like the most, so I thought I want to leave that to the end of the edge. I thought that would make it more visible, but actually it's used only across 2 rows on the bind off, so that was a bit yeah. But actually, did I show you the wrong side? I don't know. Oh, I can see both sides anyway. Yeah, so I really like that look. I really like the look with the darker picots at the end. It does look a bit silly that 2 of the colors blend together almost seamlessly, and then the dark one is just kind of like, hello, here I am in the way. There's not much to do about that, that's just how it is. It's not a perfect gradient, it's just 3 skeins that I put together when I went to Oslo Knitting Festival in 2017, and I bought these from Tweedy Todd. So this is a Tweedy Todd yarn, and I believe the base is a silk merino yak. It's got that grey colour that yak has, so I'm going to assume that's what it is. And it's single ply merino with silk and yak, and it's not my go-to yarn because it really is only good for shawls, I think. And I do realise I don't wear these shawls much, and I have 3 single ply merino shawl projects on the needles. Well, one isn't single ply, but it's still like superwash. I will finish those and be very proud of them and own them and love them, but I think maybe that's it for me. And I have to think more about what I wear, unless of course I give them away as gifts. That's a nice loophole. I like that loophole. But this shawl is for me. I really like it. I love the colours. I think Tweedy Todd is a highly skilled yarn dyeing. I think they're a duo. I think they're really good. I think the yarns are beautiful. Like, yeah, if you haven't checked them out, please do. They got an impeccable colour sense and aesthetic, and they photograph the colourways really well, and I just, yeah. So that's Smock It by Stephen West. A beast of a shawl that is finally done enough my needles, and means that I have got 1 shawl quantity out of the stash. Although these are some considerable leftovers. There's a lot of yarn left. I feel like I've only used 50 grams of each. I haven't weighed these, but it looks like half a skein. I'm not making another one. don't even. But yeah, Smock It. I just want to like show it off and just like, oh, look. But yeah, not much else to say. It's beautiful, it's silky, and I am now gonna, yeah, move on to the next finished. No, wait, that was the last finished item. Ah! Which means I can move on to works in progress. I talked about how I have 1 more baby knit that is really close to being done, and had I just waited half an hour before starting recording, it probably would have been done, or maybe an hour, I don't know. But the sun is getting alarmingly closer to my face, so I feel like I need to speed things up and just show you. Here it is. These are Harlequin bukser or Harlequin trousers by Strikkesilla, Tina Höglund. I have been knitting a lot of patterns, as you can see, and I really want to do these trousers. I have shown my sister these trousers now with just 1 leg, because I just did this last night. She was really excited. These were one of the patterns that she wanted me to make the most. She really likes Tina's style of patterns, so she's requested a lot of those, and she really wanted these and was very happy with them, even with these like orange color instead of yellow. And I'm really loving them as well. I just, these colors and the pattern and everything is really cool. I've only got the last bit of the rib left. It would take me less than an hour probably. But that gives me the chance to show it off to you guys once more next time I record. So, you know, for the sake of bulking up the episodes, we got that. The yarn I'm using is pretty much all leftovers. I have them right here. I had a grey skein that I had used off, had a white skein that was just a leftover, and I had 2 orange skeins. I'm still in the first skein. And this is what I had left of the white leftover, and this is what I left of the grey leftover. There's still a lot left, so this is a great leftover project, and yeah, they're really cool. I am really sick and tired of knitting the legs though, so I'm glad that's out of the way, and yeah, it just needs to block. Not to brag or anything, but I do knit colour work very evenly, so it's not like it needs blocking, but you know, it's a little extra finish. Yeah, you can do actually folded cuffs for the legs. I just didn't. I've had I need to finish up a lot of these cheeky cast-ons, the ones that weren't supposed to count because they're supposed to be quick. I have a lot of those, so this one's getting done soon, and then I can focus more on all these old projects that I really want to finish. I nearly started working on Brocane the other day. I didn't, but I did reprint out the pattern so that it's clearly not printed on like lined paper, which I had done. So yeah, and I've actually yeah, let's just talk about that. I got an IKEA delivery the other day. Even IKEA deliveries are really hard to get now, so I had to wait more than 2 weeks to actually get the order delivered, which is unusual in London. And I got more of these like fabric boxes for my KALs shelf, and 3 of them are now completely devoted to works in progress. So now there's a box for the more simple works in progress that I have. There's a box for the more complex ones that require more concentration, like cables and stuff. And there's one for the UFOs. But the ones that I need to finish ASAP are in a cardboard box on the floor, so I will not forget it, and I will not be allowed to forget them. And designs is in a completely different pile, so yeah. And that's kind of my new way of getting organized. I also got one of those shove them under the bed boxes that I thought I'd put some more stash in, but they actually come with airing holes so that so they're not airtight. I thought they were supposed to be, so I'm still plastic wrapping the yarn that is inside that box because it's clearly not bug proof then, which was kind of disappointing, but I got one of those. So things are just looking very neatly organized around here. I'm very happy about that. I also put up some fairy lights just to make myself feel good, because this is my prison now. I mean, it's a very nice room, but it's the only room that I can hang out with. I can't go to work, I can't go to coffee shops, just like all of us. But a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us do have more than one room to be in. Some people have living rooms. I don't. I have this room. I don't keep my bed in the background to be a cool vlogger, because they all do that with their fairy lights, and I do it because the window light is the best light I've got, and the bed just happens to be there. I have been forced to live this sort of tiny living lifestyle, which is very trendy right now, but it's not cool if you have to, and I've been doing that for involuntarily for a decade, and I am, you know, you could easily go a bit loopy when you're stuck in that box, but I am just trying to make it really nice. And I have, like I said, put up all these fairy lights. I got 2 packs, and it's just pretty. You can't see it, but just imagine fairy lights. And more boxes for my knitting so that things look more organized and it's not as like assaulting all the senses. I got mosquito nets for my windows to keep the bugs out, so I can have the windows open without feeling that I am, you know, polluting my room with all these yarn-eating critters. I have a scented candle. I have also started to cover up my knitting machine with this old bed sheet so that that gets protected from dust as well. Because I had a deep clean of the knitting machine the other day, and oh my days, what a filthy beast. That thing needed a wash, a proper clean through. When I got it, they said it was serviced, but I never believed that, and rightfully so. But it didn't help that I've had it unprotected from dust for a year now, and more than that. And it was just full of oily, greasy dust, and it wasn't running very smoothly. And I had a good clean through, the best that I could. I do have a friend in South London who has promised she will come and drive up here, pick up my machine, and we'll go down there and have a proper deep clean of the machine once we are allowed to go on, as she says, parole. So we might do that, and I might work more on my machine then. I do also want to work a bit on it this weekend because it's just what I feel like doing, and I might see if I can train up my machine a bit more to do sock tubes, because I did buy a ribber, and a ribber is basically having a set of needles facing the set that comes with the machine, so that you basically can work something along the lines of magic loop. Because you have 2 sets of needles, which technically means you can work in the round. But you set the gauge on both sides and they have to be the same. Last time I did that and I made a sock tube, it came out a bit differently. I could tell that one side of the sock was looser than the other side. So that's the kind of thing I want to try to fine tune and get maybe some of my commercial sock yarns into sock tubes, just to have that, and because my stash is just bursting. So yeah, but without further ado, that was my intermission talk about my little spring cleaning routine. I had another one this morning where I cleaned myself, okay? And when I do, I just like to change my bed, which probably isn't that revolutionary to other people, but because of the lack of storage and space, I rarely have even space to dry the bed sheets. So I got another set from IKEA, and now my bed sheets are drying outside because it's windy and it's gonna rain in a minute, so I'm kind of freaking out. But just did that, and I hoovered the floors, and all this stuff is just making me feel good. It's really helping with the cabin fever, it's helping with the moth anxiety. I feel good about it. I am not someone who enjoys cleaning. I'm not someone who's good at cleaning despite having professional training as a cleaner. I worked at that for 3 summers. Which, by the way, I mentioned this on Instagram. You know, the chaos in the hospitals and how many people are working so hard. And I think about my old cleaning job, and I can imagine what it must be like there now. You know, I used to clean at a hospital, and I remember the routine of what it's like to, you know, always keep supplies stocked, you know, always fill up the soap and hand sanitizer, to all the stuff you have to wear when you go into an isolation room for patients that have been put in isolation. I've even actually been one of those patients once, because I came from abroad into the hospital back when I was living abroad. They have very strict routines for who. There's a very low bar to be isolated, just to keep everyone safe. And I remember the whole outfit that we had to put on, you know, the gowns of plastic, the face masks, the, you know, obviously gloves, the whole thing, and the whole routine of, you know, hygiene. And I think about my colleagues from back when, and how they now have to do that several times every day, because you have to change these outfits for every room that you go in, for every patient that you interact with and clean for. And they must be exhausted, and I'm just like, just taking a moment of just sheer admiration for the work that they do. And just, it doesn't make a difference, but I'm thinking about them, and I'm thinking about everyone who has those sort of jobs right now, and just, I'm in awe, and I'm really, really glad that they're doing it. I know how hard it is, having just done a fraction of it in the summer where it's pretty chill. So I can't, it's like tenfold now, you know. So yeah, lighting a mental candle for you or something, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but thank you. And that's my rant before we can talk more about knitting works in progress. I do even have acquisitions. Isn't that exciting? But yeah, I have cast on another design, and I talked a bit about designs this time of year last time, and I'm still not sure what it is that I want to say about it, but I'm not entirely sure what I said last time came across super clearly, just judging by some comments. And I also feel uncomfortable talking about this, you know, but it is a well-known fact in the industry that pretty much everyone in the knitting industry knows, is that you make a lot less in the summer. When it's summer in the northern hemisphere, it doesn't matter, unfortunately, that it's winter in the southern hemisphere. If it's summer in the northern hemisphere, the income goes down so much. Like, I'm not saying this to complain. I am fine. This is not a complaint. But it does go down substantially. I can barely make ends meet in the summer, but luckily I've always known that. So when I make more than I need in the winter, I just save up and have that for the summer. But what it does mean is that I am not going to be launching my best patterns in the summer, even though that may be great for those in the southern hemisphere. It's, for me, not the best use of all the hard time and effort and hard work I have put into that garment, if that could have sold 10 times as much if I had launched it in the autumn or winter here. And so the point I'm getting to is that I am always very hesitant about whether I should even show them off when it's spring and summer in the northern hemisphere. Because I know it's going to be a while until you guys get to actually enjoy the patterns. Not that there's any lack of patterns of mine out there already though, so there's still those to work on for you guys if you want to. But I do ask that I get, you know, the time I need to put them out there when it allows. I'm obviously mega busy with all the things I need to be doing, like that thesis thing. So I'm just not putting any pressure on myself. I appreciate people's patience with that even though I show you something that I've done a lot of work on right now, it doesn't mean that they're going to come out anytime soon, because there's still the write-up, there's still the tech editing, there's still the test knitting, there's still the photography. All that stuff means that it takes a while, and it will be very unusual for me to publish garments this time of year. With the exception of summer garments, obviously. That may happen. I have some ideas. I have 4 ideas. It's a lot of ideas. I'm very excited. So that was a long speech before I actually show you what I have cast on, because I am working on a new cardigan design. It is based on the Ultra sweater, but it's a cardigan, and it is a yoke. It was Easter, okay? Yellow is like the Easter color. Let's get the yarn ends out of the way so you can see how gorgeous it is. It is so Eastery, this thing. It's so yellow. This is the best shade of yellow. If you were wondering what my favorite shade of yellow is, I do like a lot of them, but this one, peak yellow. It's like this golden honey mustard, you know? It's like a sunflower. I'm really pleased with it. It's going really well so far. It was a pain to kind of math out, but once I did, I am, very happy with it. Also, there's short row shaping, which I even reworked a second time after knitting it. But I still want to show you just how good it looks already. Because when you align the needles at the bottom here, you get to see just how much they raise the neckline. Look at that. That's gonna sit so comfortably, because you know the yokes, they always ride up in the front if you don't have short rows, and they run back down and you get like lots of air coming in your neck, and it's kind of cold, and it's just and it cuts here. It's just because of human anatomy that garments tend to want to pull up here, and because of the little kind of hump we have at the back of the back, kind of want to pull down there, and it's just basically you want to allow a bit more height for the back and a bit of a drop for the front. It's a general rule, but because yokes and raglans are so different from your usual satin sleeve or drop shoulder kind of construction, you gotta work it differently. And short rows is usually the way. With raglans you can sometimes just work flat, but with yokes the short rows is generally the way to go, and that means that you can shape it so that it sits like any other neckline would, like a t-shirt would, like a sweater would, you know, and it will be comfortable. And I always aim to do that, because not only am I making these as designs for my business and all that stuff, I am making it for me to wear and enjoy wearing. So it's really important for me that they sit comfortably, which is also why I'm actually going up a size than I normally do, because I just want this to be comfortable. And with a lot of my yokes, I do recommend, you know, 0 to 5 centimeters possibly, that kind of thing. You can kind of go with what you like. It's not super fixed on some assumptions the way other constructions are. Yokes are kind of freeform in that sense. So just why I also think that yokes is a great beginner garment thing generally. So that's that. The yarn you may be curious about. I am using a yarn that you're not going to be able to get, because I don't even know how to get it, because it does exist. This, I'm going to show you. This is yarn from the Skeindeer mill in southern Norway. I think the only way I could get this yarn is if I send my aunt in Flekkefjord over to the Skeindeer factory, which is a bit of a drive, and pick up this yarn for me and send it. I could potentially also phone them and have them send it to, probably to my mum, and she would have to post it. It's hard to get. So the good news is that it's almost identical to Finull, to Ask, to Tove, and the list goes on. You know, the usual. It's the same. I can't tell the difference. It's a very Norwegian yarn. It's like the old Norwegian yarns are kind of the same. They work really well together. They substitute very easily. You get the same results. I also looked at my shade cards that I have on my wall that would make a much better backdrop for the podcast if lights allowed. But my shade card suggests that the color 4076 of Finull is very close to this, and if you use the unbleached white, you could easily replicate this exact look. So, but why am I telling you this now? The pattern isn't out anytime soon. So, but I'm working on it. I've only got a lot of stockinette left now, so it's a lot of stockinette. So anyway, I have some more ideas of what to do with the rest of this design. I don't want to have it just stockinette and end in rib, although I kind of do. But I do think it might be nice to finish off with some folded hems and cuffs and collar work and some elements from, say, kosekofte, perhaps. It's still in the designing stage. Like, I do write up and grade all my designs before even casting it on, so that I know that what I'm knitting is going to work across sizes and I'm never going to be stuck in that sense. But I do also fix up a lot of typos and errors and stuff like that as I go, but also I'm still working out the finishing of this yoke, so that's that. It looks very Norwegian, doesn't it? It's like, because this is like old traditional Norwegian charts just recombined into the Otra chart, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it balances really well. It's also super easy to knit. I talked about this earlier. I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect that there is a bit of a misconception going around that, because I'm seeing a lot of people knit these color work designs that have huge geometrical items, which is very trendy now, so that maybe just be the reason people are knitting it, they quite like it. But I suspect that a lot of people think that that is easier because it doesn't look that complex. You got these big motifs, simple shapes. But big motifs are so much harder to knit color work. There's a lot of long floats, it's messy. The repeats are harder to memorize. There's just, counterintuitively, they're usually harder to do. Whereas these motifs, these repeats are so easy. Every row is just 3 by 1 or 1 by 1, or it's easy to memorize, it's not complicated, it's short floats, very beginner friendly. Yeah, not to toot my own horn, but I guess I kind of am. So I would definitely recommend looking into things that have that sort of short repeats. Yeah, my goal with this aesthetic wise is kind of just like a jacket. I want it to be something to just pull over whatever I'm wearing, which is usually what I'm wearing now. It's like a basic cardigan, kind of timeless, and a short black skirt with pockets. This is a bit longer than my usuals. It's just kind of what I wear. It's just simple. I'm a very exciting fashion person. And just to have this to kind of throw over when I'm just like running out the door. Nothing I need to fit around anything. Yeah, simple, wearable. That's kind of what I'm going for. Yeah, I watch a lot of these like vintage channels on YouTube, like Bernadette Banner, Rachel Maxey, Carolina Zabrowska, I think. And I absolutely just love their content, but I'm just too simple and effortless when it comes to a lot of clothing. It's like I have some like arguably vintage inspired wardrobe, but I don't have the same amount of effort that they do. What they do with their hair and curls and waves and pins, and but it's a goal. Sometimes I wish I could. And I sometimes like to imagine like what would my vintage style be if I went full on in that direction. I think there'd be like same colour scheme that I have now, you know, a lot of black, a lot of saturated colours. moody, strong, deep colours. Definitely tights, skirts, cropped or long, kind of top of the hip kind of length. Comfortable, soft garments, nothing too structured. Definitely colour work. Anything that looks kind of Norwegian or Shetlandy. I love to have a bit of tweed as well, like a bit of woven tweed things. It's just really nice to imagine, like, oh, what would my wardrobe be like if I just had their effort and enthusiasm in having a vintage wardrobe. And you know, maybe one day I'll go there if I knew how to sew and alter secondhand finds, because I think being a secondhand shopper helps, but then you also need to have the sizes and proportions of those items, which I do not. So for now it's a dream, but it's nice to have thought experiments about and think like, oh, I could have that. But I've realised there's just two problems with all my vintage wardrobe kind of hypothetical dream goals. Is one, can't be bothered to do my hair. Also, my hair doesn't want to stay whatever way I put it. It doesn't hold curls. Fact. It's like shocked people how it just does not hold curls. Unless you put a hairband in and take it out, that will stay, that little line. The other thing that just would never go is that I wear running shoes all the time because I have really, really messed up feet, which I don't like to talk about because they always hurt, and I need to wear good shoes, and no other shoes, no matter how like ergonomically good they're supposed to be, they aren't good enough. I talk to the experts, I know this stuff. Even the best shoes possible, which is what I wear, they're still not actually good enough, and I should probably get an operation. That's another story for another day. What you want to see what next I've cast on? Because I cast on one more thing. It's in this bag that my mom made me with fabric that I had her buy, with a very strange opening that I'm not sure would be my choice, but I'm really grateful. I think it's a cool bag. In here is, I should give an introduction before I show you. This is very color wise not my comfort zone, but I'm very excited about it. Isolde released this kind of t-shirt pattern a while ago. I did actually see her wear it before it came out in Dublin, and she kind of talked a little bit about the construction method, and I was like, that kind of sounds like contiguous, and she was like, yeah, nah, not quite. And so that had me intrigued, and I immediately knew I wanted to knit it, but at the time it was only available for a kit. But I wanted to use this yarn, which is Snuggly Stars yarn that I bought from Snuggly Stars yarn. She had in her booth this t-shirt sample. It's a different pattern, but she had used this yarn and this colorway for it, and it just looked really cool. I don't know what it is, it just looked really interstellar, galactical, rainbowy. And the color is called Blue Rainbow, and it's on this merino silk yak blend. Not single plied, it's well plied. And I bought 3 skeins, which should be enough for a t-shirt, and I am alternating 2 skeins, and it's looking so cool and trippy, and I love this, and I know this is far outside my comfort zone. It looks like oil spill, which isn't a great thing, but it looks amazing. I love this. Oh, I'm so excited. I am so excited about having this in my wardrobe. Though I suspect it's probably going to be one of those things I'm going to be afraid to wear because it's going to look so cool. So that's the yarn, Snuggly Stars yarn in the UK. Also, the pattern, was it contiguous? I would still argue that it is. But hear me out, it's also not, because you started off as contiguous. It's absolutely like a contiguous to begin with. I will fight you on this, Isolde. She's not watching, but I just, yeah, we hope. It definitely starts out as a contiguous, where you increase for the sleeves on each side, you increase for the front and the back on each side of the shoulder cap, like this. That's a contiguous, that's what it does. However, the twist is once you have worked out the shoulder cap, which is a lot longer than your usual contiguous, because the contiguous is made to mimic a satin sleeve, whereas this is actually becoming a drop sleeve thing. So you make it longer, and once you've done, you work the front back and forth separately, so that you're making an armhole that you pick up around later like any other drop sleeve thing. So, yeah, that's so cool. That is so cool. And I'm now thinking like, oh, how can I work on that? Like, what if I did it with steaks and colour work? And I'm going slightly mad off the idea, but I like it. So yeah. But I would not do this steeked, even though I'm going absolutely loopy by just how much purling there is in this, because so far all this has been worked flat, and I just like but I wouldn't steek this because, one, you would have to sew it with a sewing machine, because the superwash, there's no freaking way in the world that I wouldn't steek that without sewing machine seams. But that would take away a lot of the flowiness that I want to retain in this, because it's a summer top, right? It's a t-shirt. So I wouldn't put steeks in here the way I would normally do. So I am just powering through it, working back and forth, trying not to complain too much, because I am getting a kick out of the construction. I also do not mind purling as much with these smoother, slippery superwash yarns. It's less annoying. You should have seen me when I was purling the shorter shaping of this thing. Not that that's a good advertisement for my patterns, but when it is these woolly non-superwash yarns, I find that purling is a bit more stubborn. But with superwash, it's actually not that bad. Did I just say that? I still don't like it, but it is what it is. So that's what's happening here. Is the inverlay. I need to shape off my Scottish if I'm ever gonna move up there. Inverlay. I've linked it below. Doesn't matter what I say. It's never gonna be right. I'm foreign, you know. People forget that. I only moved here less than a decade ago. Like, English is not my first language. I do not know, and certainly Scots isn't. So yeah. So that's that project. I have 3 skeins, alternating 2, and I think what I will be doing once I worked half of each skein is I will break off one of them and join with the 3rd skein, and once the other skein is done, I will be working the last 50 grams of each of the other 2. That should be okay. Yeah, so that's that. That's all my knitting. We got through it. So, last time I recorded, I didn't have any acquisitions, but of course, as soon as I was done recording and I tucked everything away and I was like done and ready to do other things, the postman arrived, and the postman had brought a kit. I have ordered a kit. This is my 2nd Kate Davies kit. I already have the kit for the Balmaha yoke, which I have actually worked a couple of rounds on, but not enough to show you guys. So I'm not allowed to start this kit before I finish the Balmaha kit, which is equally slow because Kate Davies just loves working that really fine yarn and very, very tight gauges. And I just... It takes a while. I wanted the item, but oh my god. It's just gonna take a while. So this is just gonna have to wait, but the kit is for Sleeve Island, which I fell in love with the second I saw it. It was like the colors, the shape, the crop, just everything is like it was made for me. I just love it. So I'm doing the exact same colors. I was looking at my Holst cones and I'm like, I do have red and greys, but I did find that if I went with any of the greys that I had, it would either be too high or too low contrast. I do kind of want the tweedy details of this yarn. So I just let myself have a kit. So it looks like a lot of skeins, but you have to keep in mind that they're each just 25 grams, not 50 the way most balls of yarn are. So, you know, it's not as much as it looks. But I'm glad it comes in this bag because I just keep this on top of my cupboard. It's completely safe from bugs. It's totally fine. And it also comes with a tote bag from the knitting season, which I've really enjoyed being part of. I've been really into Kate Davies designs for as long as I've been a knitter, pretty much. It was when I joined Ravelry back in 2012 and I didn't really find anything that was my style. I was looking for the other country's equivalent of the knitting tradition that I knew, and I couldn't really find any, and I was kind of confused. And of course now I understand knitting from a more international point of view, where that all makes sense, but at the time I was confused and a bit disillusioned until I found Kate Davies, and I just loved everything she had. And at the time she only had the Colours of Shetland booklet out, and Yokes came out a bit later. And I've since then bought everything in print that she has. It's all behind me here. You can't see it in that corner. There's some over there as well. It's everywhere. So I love her designs and books and everything. Even though I've been really into her designs since way back when, I was never really in a financial position to be part of the clubs before the print publication comes out until now. Knitting season was the first one I was actually able to join, and I have really enjoyed it. It's been really, really cool. Is it that different than getting the print publication in the end? Maybe not, I don't know. It is. I think you get extra patterns maybe. I feel like I did. There's also some things you get access to in newsletters for, probably some discounts I never took advantage of. And you get the patterns as they come out rather than having to wait for the print publication, which I think just came out. So yeah, it's been really enjoyable to be part of the club, and I think I'll continue doing that. So yeah. Lastly, I did get some mail yesterday as well, and I had to laugh because it all had the same colour. I bet you can't guess which one. I got some linen yarn from my local yarn shop, Knit With Attitude, which has had to close doors as most shops have, but I still make sure to order online from my favourite yarn shops because I want them to be here when we can open up again. And yeah, that's kind of my approach. I talked a bit about that a couple of, because there's a lot of stuff on social media right now about supporting small businesses, and it can feel quite overwhelming because you can't support them all. But I just think I want to be part of supporting those I want to see on the other side. I just want to know that I've done my part to make sure that Knit With Attitude and Wild and Woolly and Loop and so on are still here when it's all back. I want to make sure that my local coffee shops are still here, that my takeout favourites, you know, the list goes on. If there's any way I can still get stuff from them, I will try. So I got some linen because I have some design ideas for the summer, and I got this one as well, but I did actually open it up a bit because I wanted to cake it up, but I haven't yet, so we can look at it. It's like hay. It's so stringy and icky, but I have seen this knitted up and it gets so soft and silky, and it's kind of like, what, how? So I'm excited to try that. I know exactly what this design is going to look like, and I'm very excited. Oh no, I don't want to tell you yet, but it's a really cool idea. So that's that. The brand is actually Växbo Lingarn. It's a Swedish linen, basically. The colorway I got, I think it's just called burgundy, to be honest. It's the French spelling, so I'm not doing that, but yeah. So what did I get that also wasn't that color? I really messed up my grey Plystre backpack rucksack. I have used it so much. You have no idea. I've just used it so much. I have really tested its capacity and found where that breaking point is. And the zip is just messed up beyond repair. And I got in touch with Varuna of Plystre, and I asked her, you know, can you just send me a zip or something? I can get it fixed. It's broken. and she offered to send me a new bag. Now they didn't have more grey in stock, so I chose the burgundy. Not only that, but all the backpacks come with a project bag, so now I have another one of these. Because I already have one that I bought separate from the backpack. Upon a further inspection, they're not the same. These ones that are sold separate are bigger and have a handle, so the ones that come with the bag are smaller and do not. But hey, now I have the full burgundy collection of Plystre everything, because I also have the shoulder bag, which I'm not pulling out from the stack of design projects that it's with, but I have thoroughly collected all things burgundy Plystre. So now I have a bag that isn't broken, that I'm going to try not to make explode. I'm going to try to think about the purposes of my different backpacks and not use basically I got a separate backpack for work, laptop, big things. But I'm really pleased with this bag. Here's the Plystre logo. Obviously want to give a massive shout out to Plystre for this excellent customer service, for sending me this brand new bag. Yeah, I love their stuff. I have since I got that shoulder bag way back when, and I since got the grey rucksack. I bought that little project bag. I'm a bit of a fangirl, okay, so this is just really cool to have. And yeah, you want to see this. It's can you even see the skein? Is it just blending into the backpack? So that's all I have for you guys today. I did already start the episode with talking about the situation here, and I can't say that it has really changed all that much. I live in a flat share in which the annoying party has left, so that's been really nice. And the other person is still here, and we make it work, just looking after the place. We give each other space, we get on, it's fine. I haven't hung out with friends since mid-March, before the lockdown, and I don't think I have like touched another human being since the end of February at Unravel, when I hugged some friends. It's a good thing I'm good at this whole locking myself in away, and because I obviously have my own history with both the PhD and mental health and self-employment and all that stuff. It's just like a nice cocktail for being quite prepared for these changes. But I understand not everyone is, and for a lot of people they're quite jarring, the changes that have been happening. And I feel, yeah, I hope you're doing okay. I keep trying to like think like what I have learned from having done this for so much longer and what we can take away from it. And definitely a lot of the things are to make your surroundings nice, to make sure you still have alone time if you can, which is a luxury that not everyone has. You know, treat yourself in the nice little ways, whether that's eating something that makes you feel good in terms of both being tasty, healthy, energetic, nourishing, you know, scented candles, fairy lights, mosquito nets to keep bugs out, silly small talk with the neighbours over the fence if you can, like ordering a bit of yarn online. Like, I just try to find whatever that is feel good that I can have. It's different for different people. I think there's definitely one thing that I have struggled with before this and still, and that's routine, because you easily lose that routine when you stay at home. And that's, if I was going to give one advice that I do not follow myself, although wish I could and I aim to, is routine. To keep up the morning routine that you have, you know, wake up at the same time or ish, and do the same things, you know, get ready, feel good, feel dressed, feel like I just wish I did this every day. That would make me feel so much better. Like, why don't I do that? That's the kind of stuff that helps, that you think you don't need to do now because you're not going anywhere, but it makes such a difference. But also, like, pace yourself. Like, there's no point in like putting pressure on yourself. I'm not someone who is super susceptible to pressure around me. Like if someone directly puts pressure on me as an individual, I feel that. But when there's like pressure on people as a whole, I never feel, it's gonna sound a bit sad, but like I never feel part of that whole anyway. So for me, when, yeah, it isn't super relatable to me. But I know a lot of people feel a general pressure when people say to the masses, now is the time that you can achieve your goals and finish your projects and clean your house and tidy and do better and be better. And if you're susceptible to that kind of pressure, just don't listen. It's a pandemic. The most important thing is that you are your own best friend and look after yourself. Do as I say, not as I do. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.